anytime you're growing the platform, there's always this trade-off with games. We are not a third-party publisher.
Yeah.
We're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna do it anyway.
Alright everybody, welcome back to another Xvault gaming video. Xvault here, and today we're going to go over your next dose of the salty batch files. Yes, we got some lunatics out there. Again, they're delusional, they're deranged, they think they're top tier tech folks, and they also, in this case, think that Xbox has saved gaming in general. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump to it. Alright, so like I was saying, what we're going to do is jump right to the salt and the meat of the content, of course. We're going to start off with somebody new to me, probably new to a lot of you out here, but we have a crypto hodler here. Not sure what that means or stands for here, but that seems to be the handle, but he thinks he knows a lot about tech. Let's take a look here, shall we? So, no 2880p, or in his words, 2.8K, sorry, is not the same as 4K 2160p. Alright guys, not a math whiz, but so far, this is not adding up. 4K typically refers to a resolution of 3840 by 2160 pixels, while 2880p is a higher resolution than Full HD, 1920 by 1080. It's lower than 4K. I don't think that's the case. Is this the case? Is this too simplified? Am I missing something here? Is he way off base? Or I don't think this is less than 4K, guys. I don't think this is less than 4K. Now we have a further breakdown by him. Here's a breakdown. 4K 2160p, 3840 by 2160 pixels, 2880p, so 2880 by 1800 pixels, often referred to as 2.8K or 5K UHD. Okay. So then he goes further. Full HD, 1080p, breaking down as 1920 by 1080 pixels. While 2880 offers a significant improvement over Full HD, it doesn't meet the standard definition of 4K. Really? Is this? Am I missing something here, guys? This is just like an FYI. Am I missing something here? I would assume, I believe, according to my understanding, the 2880p is better than normal 4K with the 2160p, right? 2880p is more than 2160, if that's what we're comparing it to. Am I off base here? Because if not, this guy is absolutely crazy, asinine, and just making things up as we go. But to my knowledge, I would think that 2880p is better than 2160p, but you heard it here first from Crypto Hodler. Maybe he needs to go on a Cold Eastwood podcast or an Oh No It's Alex podcast to keep this going, but let's let you guys kind of divulge and discuss in the comments there on this one here. Let's let that happen, but let's keep going here, guys. Extension, right? They are aka Andrea Piccinini, aka Joseph Cruz, aka the one and only catfish that still keeps going on, and we'll block you if you call them a catfish. Now they're trying to state that the PS5 and PS5 Pro are scams in reference to Days Gone Remastered on the PlayStation 5. As you can see, they have a highlighted portion: performance 1440p, target 60 FPS, quality native 4K, target 30 FPS, okay, on the base PS5. As we go further, we're talking about the Pro. Performance is 1800p, target 60 FPS, quality mode 2880p, which we were referencing just before this, right? And 30 FPS, so you got some choices there. And then enhanced, we have 1584p, target 60 FPS with PSSR, which is what they're still learning and utilizing for that type of influence and architect within that PS5 Pro, right? If you've been following along, that's what's there. But they're so upset that the PS5 and PS5 Pro can run their games exponentially well, run them fluid, give you options on quality and performance that may not be available on, let's say, their Series S for maybe one of their first-party games or something like that, but they tell you that essentially the PS5 base model and the Pro are a scam. Stay away from it. Go with a third-party publishing economic failure that is Microsoft at this point in time, because they had to shift in that direction. So let's not go somewhere where you still have console exclusives. Yes, console exclusives. I get they're still going to PC at some point in time and on and on and on, but we're talking console exclusives. So let's go somewhere where there's no console exclusives anymore, and those first-party games are going to competing platforms. But yes, the PS5 and the PS5 Pro is a scam. The only scam here is you idiot catfish. But let's keep going here. We're not done with the talk and 4K tech talk here, guys. Even Kid Smooth Brain here has to go ahead and chime in as well. So he states, right, yesterday I learned from some dorks, as if he's not a dork because he's heavily into the console warring, he's heavily into gaming and other nerd or geeky, outlets, right? I mean, why is he calling anybody else a dork if he himself is a dork? But I digress. That dynamic 4K is native 4K as long as it reaches 4K at some point. Huh? By this logic, 98% of games running on Xbox One X and Series X are in fact native 4K. And he's trying to call out D-Batch with some of his previous stuff there. If you want to read those, feel free to do so. Hit the pause button, of course, and take a look at those there and what he's referencing here. But D-Batch, he claps back, as you can see here. And he's right. He's right in this instance, right? I don't always see eye to eye with D-Batch, but here he is right. This idiot kid does not know the difference between a game upscaling to 4K and native 4K with DRS clown emoji. Upscaled 4K is not native. This is true. It's not native, right? DRS 4K hits native 4K, huge difference. Indiana Jones hits native 4K most of the time. Xbox can't hit it ever. The best it can do is 1800p. Digital Foundry confirms this, and then of course highlights the whole part here where the PS5 Pro benefits are worth touching on too. While hardware-based VRS is in theory a feature of Pro, it didn't seem to use it here. Even so, PS5 Pro excels for one reason alone, the ability to generate even higher resolution frames afforded by a beefier 16.7 teraflop GPU. Going up to the native 4K means that the fine thread work of the clothing appears pin sharp, especially compared to base PS5, as does the presentation of grass in the opening jungle. PS5 Pro pushes the cleanest image of the trio here, even if benefits in settings right outside of this that are rather limited. So that's just kind of their quick synopsis highlight there, and that's what he highlights, as he should when talking about that, and again retweeting what Kid Smooth just stated. So again, these folks try to get a W somewhere, and I don't know why they're still damage controlling. These guys are still on a sinking ship, and I try to negate it, I try to pull back, but sometimes I do have conversations back and forth with those Xbox fanboys out there that are indeed going down with that ship, and they still think Xbox is winning, still thinks that Xbox is doing something good. They are essentially a third-party machine. If Game Pass is good for you, fantastic. Again, that's not going to ultimately help Xbox in the long run as far as hardware is concerned. They've all but abandoned it. We'll see what, again, that new PC hybrid type of deal is in the future. The handheld deal that they've been mentioning is going to be that Xbox sticker on basically a Steam Deck, Asus, ROG Ally, Lenovo, whatever, right? So there is no winning here. In context to a console war, this is literally you cheering on a publisher at this point. You're cheering on EA, Ubisoft, Square Enix, whatever the case is. You're cheering on a third-party company, a full-on third-party company. Yes, PlayStation is third-party to a point, but not fully like Xbox and Microsoft have become. We need to understand the differences there. We need to understand the differences there. If PlayStation was doing the same thing, I would say they're full-on third-party to that extent of what Xbox is. But we got the peddlers, the shills, and the frauds, and the fanboys trying to tell you that Game Pass is the best way and the only way. That doesn't work for everybody. Stop shoehorning in that this is something that works for everybody. It doesn't. I've had videos on this, on who it works for and who it does not. But I digress. Let's keep going here so we don't spend all day on that. Let's go to LB Jr. here. Now, this idiot, I don't feature all that often because he really isn't. He's a weirdo. Here we have Xbox is the best box. They saved the gaming industry. A bunch of crying, laughing emojis, and of course, stating how Oblivion Remastered did release on every platform, but that saved gaming, not Expedition 33, not Final Fantasy VII Remake, not GTA 6 that will be more than likely coming out this year, not Monster Hunter Wilds, not any of the great games that have dropped this year already. It's Microsoft alone with Oblivion Remastered. Yes, you heard it from this idiot's mouth first. Xbox saved gaming. No, they're a third-party publisher like we just went over. And thank you for putting out those third-party games on all platforms. You're doing what a third-party publisher does. Anybody still not understanding or how this works, don't follow idiots like this. But let's keep going there. Just something to mention here. So, this is an interesting one. Again, we're going to have to start incorporating some Nintendo stuff here because these guys really coming out of the woodworks for a while. Like I said, it's gonna happen, and they're gonna go to the wayside once their hardware and architectural stuff from their hardware's perspective starts falling in the wayside. But here we have Switch up, right? Ton of followers here. 120 FPS and mouse mode. It's game over for most PS5 and Xbox cross players. Here come the flames in regards to Hypixel stating Fortnite will be on Switch 2 on launch, and the fact that you can use those Joy-Cons, flip them over, and use them as a mouse, which I think is a pretty cool feature, by the way. I think that's great. However, the problem is you can still hook mice and keyboards to specific games, have them work and be compatible with those games via Xbox systems, via PlayStation systems. Some games like, again, Marvel Rivals do not tolerate that. That's called zimming, stuff like that. So you will get in trouble for that. But for the games that do support it in the crossplay section, you will be okay. But comp and stuff like that, no, that's not okay. That being said, later on, it took him a little bit before he responded. He got a lot of flames for this, and I'm not showing it, but he tried to talk this back and be like, I was just kidding, guys. This was satire. I was joking. Clearly, this isn't the end-all, be-all, blah, blah, blah. But he let that sit for a bit. If he thought this was truly satire, and you could take it as such with the emojis, right? But we have people using the emojis that are actually serious, so it's hard to discern this sort of stuff, but I chalk it up to another fanboy from Nintendo trying to, of course, get a W over the competition. This isn't the way, this isn't a W, especially when these other hardware boxes can do the same thing. However, let's keep going here. Now, let's see how things happen with True Achievement here, right? As we can see, we'll post this up right now. New court documents suggest that The Elder Scrolls 6 will be an Xbox exclusive, and he's talking about it and all that stuff and has a link to it, right? They continue on later on down the pipeline, right? Or earlier rather, Todd Howard thinks Starfield is better, quote, better, because it's an Xbox exclusive. Well, that's in the past. How does True Achievements feel now? How is he taking everything? How does he view the world through an Xbox Fanboys or Xbox bias site from? How does that work? Well, wonder no further, because here we have True Achievements back stating, I'm excited for Xbox's multi-platform future and the quality of games we could see from the company. So all this talk, remember, we've had videos about this. In regards to how Xbox and exclusives are no longer a thing. It doesn't matter, but not too long ago, guys, it mattered. Exclusives mattered. Heck, spoiler alert, they always will matter for as long as they possibly can, as long as it's a thing, as long as it's generating a positive outcome for said company or ecosystem, it will always be a thing. If somebody is telling you that that is not a thing, it shouldn't be a thing, it's not consumer friendly, all that stuff, I do have past videos explaining why exclusives do matter. If you don't agree with that, I'm sorry, go kick rocks. That's just the facts. It does. Again, go check out the video. You have no rebuttal there. And these guys don't hold it well either, because now, just a short time later, exclusives don't matter. Sure thing, true achievements, I'll be sure to follow somebody like yourself, because I'm sure I can get honest opinions or facts to back those up straight from you. Not so much. But let's keep going here. And Ansem. This idiot. Haven't featured them in a little bit. I try not to because they are that stupid. I feel like they're an offshoot of... the catfish, but we'll see what happens here eventually, right? But another Xbox first-party IP in the first 4 months of 2025 with another, like, freak-out emoji here, right? PlayStation is trash. Insane. If PlayStation is trash, why are these games going to that console? Why are they going to competing consoles? Oh, that's right. Again, they're a third-party company now, which is Xbox, which is Microsoft. They are a third-party company. If you're going to call PlayStation trash, that would mean Xbox is trash, because Xbox games are therefore on a PlayStation as well. So what makes an ecosystem trash? Is it because the games that only Xbox has? Because that's not really the case anymore. As time goes on and on, that no red line becomes more and more clear, or more solid, as you would want to view that, and showing that all future slate games for Xbox are also going to competing platforms. But yes, the PlayStation is trash. Definitely didn't force or help force the fact that Microsoft had to go, again, third party. But let's keep moving it along here, because we got one more here, folks. Let's wrap it up with a Oh No Alex thumbnail here. Now, this is great. This is great because, again, the grifting is at an all-time high with these guys. They're not even hiding it anymore, but they try to. They'll sit there and say they're not. But as you can see here, right? Disaster. Straight on the thumbnail itself. PlayStation and Nintendo greed set up Xbox success. Yes, because the increasing prices and what the corporations set these prices at mean that Microsoft is going to turn a 180, do a 180, take everything back. There's going to be exclusives. They're going to double down on Game Pass and day one games and all this stuff. No, they came out cheaper. They had cheaper options during COVID, out of all places. Xbox had Game Pass already available at that time during COVID. They had plenty of Series S's available during COVID as a cheaper entry point. A cheaper entry point to get. This is so stupid and redundant to use the greed card here. Yes, they are being greedy. Welcome to corporations. Xbox and Microsoft are also greedy. I don't know why you don't think that's the case. It's a corporation. You want to talk about corporate bootlicking, this is a prime example, but you got to use the shield of grifter and fraud here because, well, Alex, Microsoft, again, is a corporation. They are greedy, deep down to the core, just like any corporation, just like PlayStation, just like Nintendo, just like Google, just like Amazon, just like any other corporation. They are greedy down to the point. It is up to the consumer to decide if they want to invest in said company. Utmost to their utmost may, right? It's what are we doing here? We choose to buy products from a certain brand. We choose to buy things from a certain ecosystem. We choose to do all these things. You have to do your research. Yes, absolutely. But again, to paint it in a different light here, that PlayStation and Nintendo are the only greedy ones, and therefore Xbox is going to capitalize on this and totally make the right moves. Again, nothing's changing. There's not going to be some holy light where everybody's like, what's this Game Pass you guys talk about? What's this Series S you guys talk about? What's this new handheld that's basically a Steam Deck, ROG Ally, etc., etc.? What's this all about? I guess I'm going to invest into the ecosystem because not only that, it's just a cheaper option than Nintendo and PlayStation. Well, Nintendo Switch 2 is already sold out. Still, Mario Kart, the game itself, is breaking websites as we speak. Whether or not they are overpriced, in which they are, and I agree they are, and both companies are in fact greedy, this is not news. It's not stopping anything anytime soon. And again, nobody's going to sit there and get a sparkle in their eye and be like, you know what? Microsoft's the way to go. I know they're all basically third party now, but that's the way to go, guys. No, if they wanted to go that way, they would have went PC. They would still go PC. They would invest a little bit more in there, maybe get a mid-range, do something that works for them, utilize Game Pass that way as well. They'd be heavily invested in the Steam Decks, and everything else is options. That's not the case. People know what they like, where they like it, know what to expect from these companies, and they make those choices to do so. Whether you think that's smart or not of a consumer to spend that money, that's not for you to pocket watch. That's not for you to pocket watch. And again, full circle, this isn't going to change anything with Xbox anytime soon. Eventually, I don't know. I'm not a fortune teller. 5 years from now, I don't know. They can make all sorts of changes that does entice a consumer. Maybe make some great decisions. But at this point in time, it's going to set up Xbox success anytime soon? No. No, it's not. And we're seeing that right now. We're seeing that on the monthly hardware sales. We're seeing that on the stagnated Game Pass subscribers. All that stuff. It's just not happening. So again, full hand, full card shown, ultimate grifter and fraud status. Got to keep that income going. Got to get those super chats going. Got to continue to do that and lie to the masses. But I expect no less. And this won't be the last you'll see of these stupid ass thumbnails and narratives that they try to spin. That being said, we will end the video here, folks. I appreciate it. Of course, if you haven't already, definitely leave a like, comment down below. Both those things help out the algorithm. I would love to hear from you as well. In addition to that, if you haven't already, definitely consider subscribing, helping out a small content creator like myself, working our way to that 3,500 sub goal, making that way for sure. So thank you all so much for that support. I really do appreciate that. That being said, enjoy the rest of your day, everybody, and we will see you next time on the next Xvault gaming video. But before that, just remember, don't be a salty batch. Take care.